Hey, what's up? It is David Duford at davidduford.com, where you learn a lot about how to handle insurance sales training objections, which, of course, ironically, is the continuation of the 10-part series on how to overcome the most common insurance objections, no matter what kind of insurance you sell. So today we're going to hear what I think is probably one of the easier objections you'll hear, which is, this is too expensive. Too expensive. If you hear that, do not dismay or be dismayed. You can overcome this, assuming you've done a good job of selling every other aspect of it except the price of the product. So let's say, again, what I do in these videos, I like to talk about the different aspects where you would hear this objection. So let's talk first about setting the appointment, then we'll talk about how you hear it and deal with it in the sales call. If you hear, that's too expensive over the phone. Again, what you want to stress is that there's a lot of programs out there that are custom tailored to each individual budget. And then again, what really matters is to sell the appointment and how easy it is to run it, and there's no obligation. So the way that would sound is, hey, a lot of people say the same thing like you do, Mr. Prospect. They're afraid that it's going to be too expensive. But the reason they meet with me anyway is because there's ways that you can custom tailor programs to get them just as affordable as you need to. All I need is 5 minutes to show you this information, and what you do with it is totally up to you. How's Tuesday at 2 would tend to be better. That's the setup to overcome that. Again, stress the fact that it's custom tailored and sell the appointment and the ease and the no obligation that's necessary. Now, what if you hear it in the actual sales call? This is too expensive. If you hear that in the beginning, well, as compared to what? It's a knee-jerk objection. Just acknowledge it and move on. Don't pay it any attention. Keep going. Now, if you hear that objection at the end, after you've presented price, then one of two things. One, you should have qualified on budget a little better earlier, like I teach in some of my other sales training. Or two, you should always have and be ready to use the something is better than nothing objection rebuttal. So here's how it sounds. Hey, Mr. Jones, I totally understand. I hear what you're saying is that this $100 a month plan is a little outside your budget. And here's the thing. The last thing I want you to do is buy a plan that's too expensive. Why would you take this out from me today and then 6 months from now drop it because you knew better, it was too expensive? I hear this all the time. Here's what I would recommend instead. Why don't we cut this thing in half, get you something around a $50 a month mark, because A, that's going to be a lot easier on your budget, and B, the worst thing I can do is leave you today after telling me how bad you need insurance and understanding the value of it without getting you something. Because the bottom line in insurance is something is better than nothing. Zero is bad. But at least you have some coverage on the books, which you can always add to at a later date as your budget improves and as you feel more comfortable with the process. So why don't we look at $50 a month and see what we can get and start with that? Does that make sense? So again, I'm not the kind of agent that pushes for a high premium. And when I say this, I'm dealing with a retail market to people who are working in their own, just like a business to consumer type of market. I'm not a big believer in pushing for high prices because they usually always come back in the form of some sort of chargeback. I want to sell them a policy they're going to keep, so that at the end of the day, they are appreciative of it. They like me because I actually helped them out and gave them a good value, and they'll keep it and then do business more so later on in life. They'll buy more policies, refer more people to me, and ultimately, if they did happen to die, at least they were able to keep the plan that I sold them. So I work heavily on making a policy fit the budget. In fact, a lot of my sales training I teach my insurance agents is how to predetermine budget very early on so that you don't have to deal with this objection. And if you'd like to learn more about how to do that, then what I would recommend to you to do, whether you're interested in joining my insurance agency as well as maybe checking out my insurance agent inner circle, go to davidduford.com, check out the training and the information on both programs there, and feel free to take your time reviewing it and contacting me if either of those makes sense. And if you like this video, please comment below. Thumbs it up, of course, subscribe, and we shall see you next time. David Duford, davidduford.com. See you later. Bye.